So this is Caliban, our newest Warframe, the sentient adapter or survivor. But how good is he, right? Caliban is a Warframe that's honestly quite powerful. Caliban offers a lot of area of effect crowd control while also stripping enemies completely of their defenses, which makes them die in one hit mostly. He has a built-in adaptation effect for some damage mitigation for himself and for his whole squad once you're inside affinity range, but it's not as powerful as the adaptation mod itself and doesn't stack with the adaptation mod either. So adaptation equipped on Caliban isn't really worth it. So we know what Caliban's abilities are, and we've known for quite a while. I made a video on it, I think it was last week, but just as a quick refresher for anyone who might not know, this is them all on screen right now. His number one is called Razor Gaia. It is a spin around ability that deals slash damage, can self-heal depending on the number of enemies that you hit and your power strength, and can speed up and dash towards enemies if you want to as well. His second is called Sentient Wrath. It is an Eidolon stomp that has a huge radius all the way around you that will do minor damage to enemies, but it will crowd control them and hang them up in the air as well. They will kind of float like Titania's lantern. If you enjoy that effect, maybe you don't. Enemies affected by Sentient Wrath will also take additional damage from his Razor Gaia if you hit them with that after they've been affected. His third ability is where he will summon in 3 sentients, one at a time. They are honestly lackluster in terms of damage, but they do give you a constant shield regen into overshield as well. They also cause quite a distraction, which is good, I guess, because if they're shooting at the sentients, they're not shooting at you, but their damage definitely sucks. His fourth and ultimate ability, Fusion Strike. This is where Caliban will fire 3 lasers that converge where you're aiming. They deal damage, but more importantly, they strip enemies of their defenses, shield and armor with an explosion at the end of the cast. This explosion also does Ragdoll to anything caught in the middle of it. This is what I've built my Caliban around, complete armor and defense strip. However, I did initially try to build around his second ability for increased damage against enemies and a reduced duration on the crowd control as well. I didn't really enjoy it as much. I also tried to subsume and snare onto Caliban instead of his Razor Gaia, but it doesn't work with his Sentient Wrath. They kind of counter each other. The ensnare only kicks in after Sentient Wrath has worn off. So I decided to scrap that idea and decided to build him around his ultimate ability and stripping enemies completely of their defenses instead. This is my mod setup. High power strength, I think it's about 200% needed for complete defense removal, and they take increased damage when affected by your Sentient Wrath as well. I think it's about 88% with this power strength. Shield regen with respite and auger mods, energize and aegis for sustain, and range mods to catch more enemies with your second and with your fourth ability as well. Now it is worth noting that I normally only run about 1 hour of Steel Path because I kind of get bored if I stay in any longer than that. I kind of lose concentration, I guess, and I do it solo, and this setup definitely works for me. Feel free to tweak it, however, as much as you want. Your build, your Warframe, your game, go nuts. Pop maglev in there if you want to. Replace those normal mods for normal variants if you want to as well. Now I will leave a link, however, in this video's description to a video of Caliban going up against level 9,999 enemies from an awesome creator called Lifewater, who is also a Warframe streamer as well, who has a complete series of Warframes being pushed to their limits. This is just an example of how good Caliban is. So while Caliban has got decent damage reduction and has that shield regeneration, has constant crowd control and armor and defense strip, which are all great things, the bad things about him, from my perspective, would be that his passive is a reduced version of adaptation and it doesn't stack with the base mods. Also, his maximum energy amount feels a little bit low at 425 with primed flow equipped. The sheer amount of ragdolling enemies can do with his abilities is a little bit off-putting because they tend to just go all over the feckin' place. His sentients deal tiny amounts of damage, which means they really are only for distraction and shield regen purposes. And his fourth ability, while it is really good and amazing for removing armor and shields, it also, like I said, sends enemies into space with that explosion. If we could reverse that explosion into some kind of sentient pull inwards from the outside of that explosion into the center of it where you impact, it would be absolutely amazing. Group up and defense reduction in the same thing, sign me up. But if you're looking to get your hands on Caliban, then you will need to buy his blueprint in the market and then run some of the new Narmer bounties, which are active during the day cycle of Plains of Eidolon, or if it is nighttime during the Plains, then the bounties will be active over on Orvalis and Venus instead. So with all of that being said, let me know what you think of Caliban once you get your hands on him in the comment section of this video. Hopefully you're enjoying him. What do you like or what do you not like about him the most? Have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.